everything possible within our power to make your lives happier, healthier, and more prosperous or wealthy. And those are our goals. In doing that, we have a tremendous company and compensation plan to reward you for your efforts. It is foundationally backed up by support from the company and especially from the products that we sell. Now, I should say one thing before I talk into this, about this today, and that is the FDA is very regulatory of our industry. It is because government wants to control. It is because big pharma and big medicine are driving them for their own business interests. And the business interests of them is to control us from the cradle to the grave. This is my opinion. I hope you accept it. For being that, I respect anyone else's opinion and the right to have it, but this is mine. This is what makes me me. And so, as a consequence, we have a very difficult fight to fight because the business of big pharma and big medicine is in treating your sickness. And when you become well, then they lose a customer. So almost all pharmaceuticals now, or at least the majority of them, are designed to treat symptoms rather than to create a cure. Now, it does, in all frankness, because of government regulation, but I think big pharma's a huge part of this is they make it difficult for time and money to be spent. It takes a couple $1 billion now to get a new product approved. It takes about 13 to 15 years. And so when you think about that in the proper perspective, that which is discovered today somewhere, perhaps in nature, because over 50% of the products that are pharmaceuticals are first discovered in nature, and then because those ingredients are God-given, they cannot patent them. There's a law to that effect, thank goodness. And so they have to find a synthetic molecule that is structurally different than the natural one that will elicit the same response in the body. When this happens, yes, you can have that, but with it, it elicits many other responses that are negative ones too. So if you watch the not all, of course, but if you watch the advertisements that are there on television, if you will, they talk about what the products can do for you and all of that. And then they have to, by law, have to put a disclaimer in about all the side effects that they have. And during those disclaimers that go on, they take up probably 2/3, 3/4 of the advertisement. And during that time, they have all kinds of things to visually distract you, music to take away from you concentrating on what these negative side effects are. Why? Because they're just darn dangerous. And many of these products, you might help you in one way and create another condition which is worse than the type that they're trying to correct. Now, I give you this, and many of you know this. I think the majority probably do. But I give you this information so you can have a better perspective and understanding of what's there. If you go to your doctor and you ask them about nutritional supplements, you'll find you talk to a blank wall because they know little or nothing about it. A few do, but most don't. 97% of the physicians in a survey are in this business to make money. And that's okay, but 3% are dedicated towards helping people. So you have to work with the percentages that you have. And in the world of big pharma and big medicine, it's weighed heavily against us. In fact, if you take all of the lobbyists in America, for example, I know there are people here from other countries, but if you took all of the lobbyists that petition our Congress, you'll find if you took all of the different types of industries and social and religious and all of these lobbyists for them, and you put them together, the pharmaceutical industry itself would have 3 times as many petitioning. So why are they doing that? Because it's enormously profitable to them. You'll pay hundreds of dollars for a prescription, and of course they have your copay now, with that kind of thing, but it still costs hundreds of dollars, and your insurance and copay is higher than that, and it may cost $1 to make the product. I saw one which sells for $580, and I looked at that, and it wouldn't cost $1 to make what was in it, and if you had what was in it in nature, it would be better for you, and you could sell it even if you marked it up at $15 or $20. What a buy that would be. But the profit motive is so strong that they are doing everything within their power to suppress the supplement industry. In fact, as they're trying to regulate the supplement industry now, the same way that pharmaceutical industry is regulated. And this is kind of creeping paralysis, and it's coming up on us. It's inhibiting what we're doing. However, this is a world of opposites. This is a world of free agency. We all have the right to understand good from bad, up from down, hot and cold, all of those different things, and we have the right to our own opinion, and we have a right to free agency that we should be able to do that. But those things are being compromised by the greedy designs of government and big pharma. So out of that, how many of you want that to happen to you, your loved ones, and people all around the world? I don't think hardly anyone would. But we have such an oppressiveness that has developed over many, many years. Like 75 to 100 years ago, there was almost no prescriptions. Almost everything was natural medicine. So these changes have come on as our society has evolved, and the business aspect of it has been able to dominate in so many different ways. So this is what we have. This is the hand of cards that we have been dealt, and we have to play with those. We have no other choices, but that doesn't mean we have to succumb to them. That means we have options to do. And for my opinion and my belief and my purpose is that we can be a mighty force to help people to have much healthier lives and much happier lives and much more prosperous if we will but do the things that is necessary to do it. Now, that is one of my guiding lights that I have in this. And I want you to know, if many of you know me and would accept, and many of you may not know, but my life now is totally dedicated to helping you to make your lives much better. It's not the business aspect of it for me, for personal gain. I've achieved that many years ago. And so people are saying, well, why don't you retire? And I said, and do what? Golf? Go on cruise ships? I want to do something meaningful in my life, and everything that I have learned and know, and the God-given talents which I have in science, in marketing, sales, promotion, business, I don't want to set that aside. I want to utilize that because I have a desire, and it's a God-given desire, and my personal desire, too, for my own body and soul, to help you and to go that distance, that I give you an opportunity so that you can look at it, you can decide, and you can take it to make the things that you want in life for you and for others and your loved ones happen. So that's what it's about. Sort of. There's a lot of other facets too, of course. But the FDA, when you sell a dietary supplement, now they would like to strongly control it. They would, at one time in the 1990s, they were trying to make virtually all vitamins and dietary supplements regulated as prescription drugs were and sold only through licensed distributors. So why do you think that would be? Well, it'd be because the cost is so great. And for an example, we're promoting CBD right now, and they have taken an isolate of CBD in Big Pharma. And what that means is they take the CBD molecule itself, and they cut a little slice out of it with this single ingredient that's in it. And then they put it into a prescription drug and sell it to the public. Well, you know what CBD sells for, and you can have a month's supply of it for $60, $70, a full spectrum with that isolate in it and lots more that synergistically makes it work. But if you go to your doctor and he prescribes it for you, it's going to cost you a couple $1,000s a year to use just that isolate for the one condition, which has to do with some mental issues that's on it. So I say these things to you so you can understand the gravity of what we're facing because of the tremendous political control that people want over us and the business control that allows this for big pharma and big medicine to happen and to use. But for me, if I break a leg, I want to go to the doctor. I want to go to the hospital. Yes, there's things for that, but everything should be kept in proportion. And with that, there's some very important sayings. Like one of it is a Chinese saying is, in China, where traditional natural medicines, and don't discount it because they say natural. Natural is, in my opinion, much, much better than a synthetic. And there's synergistic power with other things that are in these God-given created ingredients that will give you a much better effect and a safer effect with what it does. But in China, they have a saying, it's the poor doctor that practices cure. Traditionally in China, you paid your doctor, you went and saw him regularly, and you paid him to keep you healthy. And if you became sick, you stopped paying your doctor because his diagnosis and treatment has not succeeded, and he has to correct it within your body until you're healthy again, and then you start to pay your doctor. If someone dies under a doctor's care, they would hang a lantern on their office or their home where they're at. And when you stop for a doctor, you look for the darkest facility you could find, because if they had a bunch of lights outside, you had a poor doctor. And of course, this philosophy of it is great, because in that the Chinese have the other side too. And they say the human body has the ability to regenerate, to grow, maintain itself, and live to a great length of time, if you but do two things: remove the toxins and the waste, and increase the regeneration of it. Now, though, that statement right there is the one that is so foundational upon what we're talking about here today. And we're going to talk about getting on the road, not to longevity, but to immortality. Now, we're not saying you're going to get to immortality, because you're not until you pass on into the next life. But nonetheless, we are living lives that affect us in so many different ways. And we can, if we know, then we can use products that are good for us. But the FDA has a disclaimer, which I want to read right now, because I'm going to give you a lot of important, what I believe is important information. I hope it's good for you. This is not so much of a sales-oriented call, but it is a product, and then I'll give you some ideas on sales too before it's done. Here's the FDA disclaimer. This is the one you have to print, put it on products and all kinds of things. And it talks about the products that are there, and it says, if it was on a bottle of something, it would say, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Now, you listen to that. Pretty heavy stuff. Sure, there's some facets there. If they haven't been tested, you can't say the whole formulation will do what perhaps an individual ingredient was tested. And if you did want to take that to the market, you better be ready to shell out a couple of $2 billion, and to wait from which is discovered will probably be in the marketplace 20 years from now. So that's the process we go through. Do you want to wait 20 years for something that now is going to treat your symptom, or do you want to prevent it? Prevention is better than cure. Anyone would admit to that. So this statement goes on. It says, consult your physician before beginning any program. Prior to using these products, take them to your physician to be approved. Well, okay. So that's what they're trying to do. Now, in intentions, they're saying, well, we're trying to protect you from scammers, and there are a great number of those. With the CBD that's being sold today, studies are showing 85 to 90% of the products are not what they say they are. It's unfortunately, but this is the flim-flam scam things that happens with many people. Some companies that are selling CBD products contain no CBD at all. Some are just isolates. Some of them are broad spectrum, but that isn't everything. With Sizzle products, for example, ours are full spectrum, and now we are nano-sizing them. Nano means taking them down to the smallest molecule possible, because these oily molecules, like in CBD, they have a tendency to stick together, and so they clump. Well, when you absorb it, it goes into your system, but for the cells to take it in, it has to get to a certain size. So there's a breakdown period and things that happen within your body, and with that, there's a certain amount of loss that takes place. It doesn't work as efficiently, it doesn't work as fast as a small molecule would that could easily penetrate the cell and bring all of this richness that the CBD has, and this pertains to any one of our ingredients also in other products. And so what we've done is we have bought an expensive piece of equipment to nano-size this and break it down so you can absorb it. You have the potential. You have to have tests to make some of these claims with the FDA. So when I say potential or support, that's the key word to getting around these claim restrictions that the FDA has for us. So if you take this and the potential of a small molecule to enter a cell can make it happen quickly, can make it happen more effectively, you have less waste, you get more bang for your buck. So I prefaced this for almost 20 minutes. So let's move on to the next part, and that is how to live as long as you possibly could. Now, the average lifespan is, men and women, it's about 78, at least here in the U.S. In some places, like Russia, the former Soviet Union, into Africa, the average age of the man is 58 years old, and the women are 5 or 6 years longer than that. Well, if we can live to 78 here and they live to about 58 there, what happened to that 20 years? Well, it comes right back to this basic premise of what I said of the Chinese. Your body can regenerate itself if you remove or can grow younger, live longer, if you can remove the toxins in the waste and increase regeneration through nutrition with that. Okay, that's what we're after. That's what we're going to do. So big changes have happened, in fact, and only recently, because over a period of time, if I go way back, and my career goes back 35 years or so, into this industry, at one time you took products that would make you healthier, and then it evolved to where they made a big advance, and they said these are anti-aging products. They will neutralize some of the things that cause you to age. And then it went to these are life-extending products, and there was a book brought out called Life Extension. And it was published 30 years ago or so. And so that was quite a revolution, but that's carried forth until now. So people go, yeah, we have longevity. We can do those kinds of things. Well, yes, those are steps forward, but now we're into a new age where we really realize what the ancient Chinese said is that aging is caused by decay and degeneration. Those two factors, okay? And that's what they said in their philosophy. So if it's caused by decay and we can end the decay, and if it's caused by degeneration and we can increase regeneration, what do we have? We go now far beyond longevity. We'll go past that threshold, in our opinion, and I have to qualify these things, because we are scrutinized. So the potential to go far beyond that lies within us. Our genetic code has been mapped in our body. It's really quite an amazing thing to do. If you consider just the DNA in your body could contain all of the total information of the world, everything that's ever happened could be stored just on your DNA. So it shows how much incredible God-given power we have within our bodies to do things. But there's everything is based upon opposites. For every reaction, there's a counter-reaction that goes on. So now if you're degenerating, how do we how do we regenerate so that your systems can work more optimally? But the first step in it, like the first rule of medicine, is do no harm. So now if you turn around and you take the causes of aging, decay, okay? That's caused by toxins. That's caused by breathing oxygen to where the cells will split it and get the energy from it, and it releases a lot of toxins. It's the toxins that are in food, in water, in the air we breathe. And the greatest source of toxins that we get in our body is from personal care products. Toothpaste, shampoos, skin lotions, washing dishes, all of those kinds of things are the greatest source of toxins that we get in our body. So if we want to end decay, then we have to do some things for it. And that means make wise choices in the products you're using. That's what we're doing with our formulations, Sizzle Safe. We do everything in our power to make the safest products for you. And I tell people frequently the best thing about our products is what's not in them. Now, that's in personal care products and things like that. But if they're doing things now, they took a stem cell, and I just published it this past week. And for those of you that are following me, I'm moving over to WeMe.com. I'm still going to have some Facebook presence, but not much. I'm going to put most of my technology on Ouija.com. It's one that protects everything, and you don't get blasted with advertisements like you do with Google or Facebook or any of those. Everything is secure for you there, and you can express yourself and not have the issues of where they're recording every word of your conversation, and they're devising algorithms that will influence the way that you buy, the way that you vote, your political atmosphere, your social, all those algorithms. Artificial intelligence is being strongly developed by Google and Facebook and some others. But those are the two main ones that are going to do it. I don't like that idea, and I don't think most of you do either. So we need to be resistant to it. Therefore, I'm moving everything of real value that I will be presenting to you to WeMe.com. So my name's Thomas Mower. It's listed there. You can put Thomas Mower into it and sign up. It's nothing to sign up. And then you'll be able to get glowing reports and many more things than even Facebook is restricting the number of friends. I have 5,000 friends. That's the maximum. And when I put something out, it reaches just few hundreds because they want me to pay a lot more money if I increase my reader audience with it. Well, that's the nature of their business. But if you say you have 5,000 friends and it's a free service, they should hear it. But now that is not happening. Those are the things that they're not doing, and they're programming their companies to work for their own needs and against our best interests. So that's the reason why I've made this major change. So now the key message I want to talk today is how to put you on the road to immortality, to take you past the realm of healthy eating, of anti-aging, and longevity, and to catapult it 30 years ahead from where it was when life extension came out into the point of we can end aging. And if we can end aging, we have to stop the decay, and that means change products that you're using in personal care, your highest components, things like water, you filter it. Things like air you have a real issue with. But those kinds of things and the toxins that are in our food are enormous. Now, a lot of people have seen recently about Roundup, and it can cause cancer. And so the lawyers are, of course, they're quick to parasite on this, and they're telling people one person got $280-some million because they had cancer. Well, you know, that is pretty asinine and ridiculous to allow those kinds of things to happen, but lawyers don't care because they're draining our resources just as the government and the medical profession is in to take the wealth from us to them, and it's not proportionate. It's very disproportionate for us. So if the the best thing is the best way to fight a disease is never to get it. So we have to make some choices, but to make a choice, you've got to know it within yourself, and then you've got to practice what you know. And some of these things are more difficult because of advertising and confusion and all of that. But I'm here to tell you that everything I do is I do it to the maximum that's possible. And that's really important because the FDA itself in the last 2 years took off the East Coast, took from all the major, or not all of them, but a lot of the major distributors, Target, Walmart, GNC, Costco, a number of places like that, and they took the top 200 selling dietary supplements and they analyzed them. And here's what they found out of the 200 most popular selling products. This is different chemistries for each one. Not a single one of them had enough of the active ingredient they claimed in it available to be considered a therapeutic dose. Now, doesn't that make you sick? You're buying these products that you think that are making you well. I guess they do make you sick because they don't have what they advertise they do. Now, certainly some things, if you're going to buy vitamin C, all vitamin C is the same, whether it's synthetic or natural. That molecule is identical. It's not like vitamin E, but when you buy vitamin C, look at the content and buy the most inexpensive. But vitamin C is important, as many other things are, but now we're into a realm that goes far beyond that. And that's what we're doing with Sizzle right now in our On the Road to Immortality mission that we're doing. So there's some basic things, and I'm going to essentially talk about 3 components that can put you far down that road and keep you going for a time where we now have the potential, since they mapped the human genome, to live to be about 150 years. So if we die in our 70s or 80s, we've not died of old age, we've died at middle age. But nobody dies of middle age. We die because of degeneration and decay that has set in. So let's take this parameter and look back on it and say, what age are you? If you're 40, you've probably lost close to 50% of your stem cell activity. Your stem cells are it's like the chicken that lays the eggs in your body. You have 200 and some groups of stem cells, and they create everything because the rest of your cells are expendable. They have a lifetime, and then they're gone. Like in the stomach, they last, 6-8 days, and those cells are gone because of the harsh environment they're in. In the heart, they can last 3 years, but they're still replaced. But here's where the aging comes in. If you replace less than are being lost to decay and degeneration because of many factors, the aging process, if you will, then you're going to lose body mass, you're going to lose functionality, you're going to shorten your life. So if we can turn around and take something like that and put it just opposite, and let's not fight the fight, let's get rid of the toxins the best we can, but understand many of them are going to enter our bodies, and the simple process of breathing creates lots of oxidative damage because it has to split oxygen, and it's just like gasoline in your car. Goes in, it puts oxygen with it, a spark hits it, it splits the oxygen, creates the energy. That's the exact same mechanism that's going on in all of your cells, whether it be the replacement cells or the stem cells. And so that glucose is the gasoline of the cells, but there's a spark, there's an igniter, a spark that does that, and then you have oxygen to release that energy. That's the way it works. So I wanted to explain that to you so you have a better comprehension of these. They're intricate, but you don't need to know all of this. You need to know the benefits rather than necessarily the features of any product that you're selling. So sell benefits, not features. Don't become a little Tom and try to duplicate everything that I know and do. Mine is to support these products, but to put it to you in the most powerful forms possible and a user-friendly way for you to understand and to use it and to take it and market it and develop your business so you can achieve health, wealth, and happiness. So with that, anytime you oxidize the glucose in the cells, it forms a plaque. That plaque coats, it's like plaque on your teeth. Same principle. Bacteria break down sugars in your mouth, and they create an acid which etches your teeth, of course, but the plaque comes from that oxidized sugar that accumulates on your teeth. So you know how bad that is on your teeth. You can feel it every day, and unless you're using our products. But that's how it works within the cell too. So that's called glycation. And it's because glucose that is oxidized, so that's where they get the word glycation. And as it starts plaquing the internal protein surfaces of your stem cells, then they start getting gummed up like molasses. And as it eventually it caramelizes and gets hard, and these functions that are these structures, the organella within the stem cell, are now plaqued up and hardened, or it's very sticky and resistant, so they can't function the way they should. So in the age pill, we call it AGE, and age pill, which is advanced glycation endo products. That's what it stands for. Not that it makes so much difference, but you know. And so with that, the first rule of medicine is do no harm. Okay, so let's take a look at the stem cell. There's a lot of harm that's done from oxidation, so glucose, glycation. So we have found the ingredients that can penetrate into the cell, and this is where the FDA issues come in. We have to say it's a precursor, it's support, and it is. It supports the body's natural mechanisms to fight these things. The body is trying to remove glycation. It does it fairly good when you're younger, but as you get older, the decay and the degeneration is such that it can't keep up, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And pretty soon, you've got serious health problems because the features are there, but they're all gummed up. So we can support the body systems that remove glycation, and the results can potentially be tremendous. Now, remember I said supports. If I say stimulates, it's a drug. If I say supports, it supports the body's natural mechanisms. So there are legal ways to say things, and support is one of the important ones. The second thing that happens within a stem cell is it takes in nutrients to build all the components of it, and in doing so, it has a fast system of doing all of that. So a stem cell has to duplicate itself. So that's a great deal of nutrients that are taken in, and the new cell that's produced is the exact replica of the stem cell, except the chromosomes do not have telomeres on them. Telomeres are only found in stem cells, and they're the ones that regulate your anti-aging or life extension calendar, if you will, on it. So anyway, with this tremendous amount of nutrition, and stem cells are spewing them out by the thousands or tens of thousands, you can imagine how much nutrition comes into a stem cell. And as a consequence, it's like anything else. There's a certain amount of waste. The body has ways of removing it, but over a period of time with degeneration and things like that, this cellular garbage builds up. It's called glycation, and it fills the cells up with this gooey, thick sludge that is inhibiting the flow of nutrients, oxygen, getting rid of the waste, and you start accumulating a lot of toxic waste, especially toxic heavy metals. This process is this condition is called lipofusion, and so lipo means fat soluble, and what that is maybe the oil soluble or fat soluble components of metabolism that's taking place in the cell start to gum together. And when they start coming together, then the clump gets bigger and bigger. And think of it like the drain in your sink. Okay, you can drain water out because it's small enough to go, but if you have some large particles that are going down, like pieces of carrots, stuff like that. It won't get through because the orifice isn't long enough or large enough, and that's what happens inside the cell. These large particles of fat-soluble lipofuscin start accumulating, and they get bigger and bigger, and the system has a way of breaking them down, but it is so ineffective, especially with aging, that soon the clear color of a cell becomes a dark brown, and the cell even shrivels up, and the nucleus shrivels up, even like you would wad up a piece of paper. And that's the kind of effect it has. But the body has the system to work on it, so what we do is we have a series of ingredients that are in our formulations that supports those cells' processes to remove lipofuscin. So now if glycation's gone, lipofuscin's gone, what is left? Well, what is left is the mechanisms that have been oxidized, broken down, corroded from free radicals, and oxidation is a free radical, as it will. The average cell takes about 600,000 oxidative hits a day. So you can imagine that there's a lot of things to counteract that, but not enough as it gets older, so the damage is tremendous. But a new discovery was made, and in that they found that if you could increase the amount of NAD in the cell, then it could do mutagenic repair. In addition to that, it could create lots of energy where your energy is going down. So we looked at this, and there are precursors to the body or to the cell for creating NAD+. The plus stands for a hydrogen molecule, and that's what the energy comes from. Of course, just as hydrogen comes from the sun and plants take it in and animals there, that ends up in your cell. And in the final stages of what they call a Krebs cycle, where this ends up releasing that hydrogen, then you create the energy. And when it releases hydrogen, in science they call it biological hydrogen, which is converted to electrical energy. And you have a optimal amount of it in your cell that you need, and it's called homeostasis. And so when you get less, it's like having a light bulb on a rheostat, and as you turn it down, it becomes more dim. That's what happens within the aging process. You're not getting as much of the electrical energy through. And now, if you remove the glycation lipofuscin, or support the body's ability to do it, and then you support with precursors to make large copious amounts of NAD+, you're going to do the second phase. You've ended decay, and you are now going to support regeneration with this. And out of that, you can take deteriorating stem cells and you can turn them back into where science is showing that if the NAD levels are high enough and you can remove these other things, they could return to where they were when they were younger. So if you're 40 and you lost 50% of your stem cell activity, that which is still functioning is deteriorating. It's like going down a slippery slide. It's happening faster and faster and faster, but you can now stop that, or you have the potential to support stopping that. And so as a result, you can now take that decline, and with ending decay and supporting the increase of regeneration, now you start making more cells than you're losing. So what's happened to you? Well, what happened to you is aging is decay, degeneration. And so as that happens, your systems wear out, they don't function so well, and you don't have enough cells being produced to keep up with those being lost. And so you start losing functionality in your brain, in your eyes, within your muscles. Muscles shrink, skeletal systems go down, all of those kinds of things, because the regeneration is exceeded by the degeneration. So let's flip it right on its head. And with the age pill, we come in and give massive support to that. Now, our products have not been tested to do this. The ingredients in them have, and you do have the right to know about those things. There's a law called the DSHEA, Dietary Supplemental Health Education Act, and it allows us legally to tell you about ingredients and what they can do and what they support. And so our systems now is taking the very most advanced science. some of these, and I can't mention the big universities because they've actually come after us because we've mentioned what they have discovered and what they're going to try and bring out as a prescription drug 15, 20 years from now, and we have it right now, those ingredients that can do it and do it actually even better, because we're not just taking the discovery from one university or one clinical research center, we're taking it from many and we're putting them together. And I thank God that He's given me the ability to understand these things and put them together so I can do them for you, so you can have these products for building your health and also your prosperity and happiness with it. So with that, we have now got a complement of ingredients. We come at producing NAD, supporting it, 4 different ways. There are places, companies that put out, the common one now is called NR, and it's niacinamide riboside. Okay, well, niacinamide riboside is a patented molecule because they put a blueberry component with it called stilbin that bonds them together. But the problem with that is that when it goes through the digestive system, you may lose 50% of what you're taking in. And then when it goes in the system, NR is converted into niacinamide ribose. Ribose is the energy component of it, and niacinamide has the energetics for it. So if you take an NR supplement, then it becomes NAM. And so the NAM is the niacinamide ribose rather than, which is what niacinamide riboside, I hope I'm not confusing you, is converted to within the cell. So we bypass that because of the inefficiency, and because these are patented, they're charging horrendous prices, and you need certain levels to get effect. And you see the supplements out there, they're 100 to 250 milligrams. That's woefully inadequate, and if you lose half of it, what is it is? And the studies show that you need about 1,000 milligrams of that within the body to be effective in producing optimal levels of homeostasis within the cells for NAD, for energy production, to turn up the light of your cells so everything is working correctly, so all of these functions can take place. So with doing that, we have put in niacinamide ribose, but we have 3 other systems with it too, because if you look, and you won't, but don't, but if you look at the stem cell and all of the different mechanisms that is directed towards producing NAD, the ingredient that can repair mutagenic damage, that can support the regeneration and growth of organella, of tissues, of all of these things that have deteriorated, there are 4 approaches to it. We cover all 4 with the age pill. Now down the road, and we're working on this very quickly as we can, it's quite a tedious process and very expensive one, but we're working on getting a way to deliver pure NAD plus to the cells. It's so reactive, it's destroyed in the gut and the processing, but I think I found the way to do that. We'll find out. We'll do some lab tests and things like that, but I think I found the way to do it, because what I found is not what I have created. It is taking what other people have found and discovered and then turning it into practical applications for the products. It's just like Edison, the greatest inventor of all time. He had over 1,000 patents. He said, only 2 of them did I think of myself. One was the light bulb. But he said, only 2 of those did I think of myself. The rest of them, all was information I learned from other people who didn't realize what they have or didn't take it far enough, and I could see it, and therefore I developed those into products. So the great genius he was in developing other people's discoveries too. That's where his fame really comes from. Well, we have the same philosophy going on here. So now we've talked about the stem cell, okay? So now if we can get that stem cell functioning properly, what's the next thing that has to do? Well, what it is telomeres. And telomeres are what they call the igniters or the regulators of how often your cells duplicate. And every time that a stem cell is going to duplicate, telomeres have little units on them. Think of them as seeds in a sunflower. And every time that you go to produce a new cell, the telomeres give up some of these units because they go out and they are the framework so that they can construct the new cell along this with the chromosomes and all the components in it and then release it. But with the releasing of that, those telomere units are lost, but the body has the ability to support regeneration or maintenance of telomeres with it. So they indicate telomeres like at conception you have 15,000, by birth you have 10,000. That maintains itself at 10,000 because you're in the growth mode. You get up around 20 and then you start losing 8 to 10% every year or every 10 years that you live. So when you get down to about 4,000 or 5,000 units left, which takes you about 40, 50, 60 years to do that, you get down to about 5,000 to 6,000 units. I say that's the point of death, because you no longer can ignite is the right word, ignite that metabolic process that creates a new cell from a stem cell. It slows down, so it's so slow. But if you bring a stem cell up to speed, and then so it's functioning just like a brand new car or one you've rebuilt, and the highway it's going down at first is broad, and it keeps narrowing, and then it becomes a dirt road, and you're bumping along, and then you go over the cliff. That's the way this process with telomeres work. You can have the greatest stem cells in the world, and they're going to do a lot for you in life extension, and they are the vehicle on the road to immortality, but we have to widen that highway. And so we have TSX, and TSX is telomere support extreme. And so with this formulation, I looked at one that was somewhat similar to it. We have the active ingredient they have in it. We have it in a higher concentration, and we have a bunch of others that are to support telomeres. And this product is selling for $500 or $600 for a month's supply. And so we have, in my opinion, a much more powerful, effective ingredient to support long telomeres than anything. And there's only one or two others that are out there. And in my opinion, they're okay. They're inadequate. They're expensive, and one isn't so expensive, but it's not so potent, in my opinion. But here we have TSX. So now if you can maintain long telomeres, the igniting of cellular duplication can be increased. So instead of going duplicate, you go like that, and you can increase it, and the stem cells have the potential to do it because you've supported the rebuilding of them with these products. So now that sounds pretty good. And you think, oh, gee, we got about everything we need to do that, and it's going to put you way down the road to immortality. You're not going to attain immortality, but let me tell you what, folks, it's on the horizon, and we're going to go as far to that as we can. So those two great products are the the immortality products, the life extension products, the regenerative ones to take you down that road. One of the leading universities calls the components in both. There's Nobel Prizes that have been won in both these categories, 5 in one, 3 in another, and that. So this is pretty powerful science, but it's science that they're trying to make medicines out of it. It's expensive. I found them, and they were all discovered in natural ingredients. I've got those, and because of the resources we have with my huge company, debt-free, one of the largest manufacturing plants in the United States, I think the most advanced one that we can do so much, and we're putting those together because I'm in this business to make you successful. I'm not in this business to gouge for profit. I'm going to have enough profit to run the business, but I'm going to have plenty so that I can share the wealth with you. I'm sharing the wealth with you that would go to shareholders and investors and all of that in your commissions. Plus, then you get the normal markups and things that are there, all split up. So that's why their commission payout is so high. And because we have a huge debt-free company here, the 30 to or the 300 to 400% that a product is marked up as a dietary supplement due to manufacturing processes and all of those things that are involved. We don't have those, at least to that degree. We're less than a fourth of that with what we have. So we can take a given formulation, produce it much more powerfully and much more concentrated, much more effective for the same amount of money. If you paid $10 for a product and you had a certain amount of effect for it, we can give you 4 or 5 times that power and more diversity, more concentrations, more types of ingredients to make it potentially so great. So I want to talk about immortality today. And as you understand this with the age pill, if you understand this with TSX, you have got two major discoveries that are going on, but I am going to introduce the final one. Now, I've said with the age pill, it's the greatest discovery in the history of human health. I believe it is. But now I'm not quite sure, because I found something that may be even greater than what it is. But the age pill would be still a spectacular, necessary support ingredient to it, as would TSX. So what could be greater than these two? Well, it's a product I'm going to be bringing out right now, and we'll just call it Product X until it's released, so you know it. But here's what happens within your body. You have stem cells that are fully active at 20, and then they start declining to where you get down in your 70s, you're down to about 2 to 5% activity. Well, along the road, many of these are in stages of decay or degeneration, rather. And so if we can intercept those with the age pill, it has the ability, as the Chinese said, to regenerate, repair, and rebuild itself if you have the proper support materials for it, nutrients, super nutrients, nutraceuticals. And we certainly have that. But there's a certain amount of stem cells where they're not in senescence, they become senescent. In other words, their activity, which has been going down, now becomes dormant. These senescent stem cells are not good because the body wants to get rid of them, has a mechanism to do that, but everything gets so damaged over a period of lifetime that they start accumulating. And the stem cells are trying to signal the immune system to come and create a system of destroying and cannibalizing them to get rid of the components, because they exude toxins. The most serious health-damaging toxins, disease-causing toxins, are released from dormant stem cells. You can take a lot of things in your body, but your dormant stem cells really do you a lot of damage, more than anything else, I believe, when you get older. So now you have a large body of these. And let's say that you had 25% activity of senescent stem cells. That means you have 75% of senescent stem cells that are dormant, that are exuding all of these toxins. And the immune system can't possibly keep up with it. And besides that, it has become so aged and so deteriorated because of lack of stem cell activities that are adequate and the toxins and everything, that it can't identify and remove them the way that they should when you're 20. But here comes the great discovery. And another one of the world's big leading researchers, 2 of them, have been working on this, and they found something in nature, and they're trying to make a synthetic molecule out of it, and they're even doing patents, all kinds of things. But I have looked through it. I have found what they've discovered, gone back into nature, found 2 sources to extract it from and put it in high concentrations. And what this product does is it goes into the dormant stem cell, the senescent stem cell, and it identifies it to or supports the identification of it to the immune system, which is also being supported to become much more energetic, youthful, and vigorous by the systems we're using. And now the immune system can come in, and through a natural process, within our bodies called apoptosis, the cells can be triggered to die. Now, that's good because you're eliminating the toxins from these stem cells. But here is the big one. These are, you think of them like roses. And the stem cells have a polyp, or like a bud. And so when the stem cell's dormant and releasing all these toxins, if you can remove it, you still have that bud or that polyp there. And it's the same with roses. If you want to have a beautiful rose garden, when the rose comes up into a bud and goes into the blossom and starts to wither and fall off, you have to snip it. And if you snip it off, it'll create a new rose. If you don't, it just becomes a stick that's with thorns on it that's there. And so as a consequence, it works the same way with senescent stem cells. Is this polyp that's left, if the body through its own natural mechanisms can remove it, then the stem cell polyp itself will pop up a new fresh stem cell. This is what the research is showing. And this is what we are, hypothetically, I have to say, in theory, are advocating and strongly doing so with this new formulation that we have out. So consider this: if you're 25% in senescence and 75% dormant, wouldn't it be nice to start adding those dormant ones back to where they were young, youthful, and viable? That is the potential that is here with this. And that's what we're doing, this new great company, or this new great product from these companies that are institutions that have discovered them and brought them out. We are researching the research to find those. We've found them, and it's a massive enterprise that we're in to bring out this next product. And this one, if you want to rank it, the Age Pill is an A+. This product is probably an A++, because if you're over 40, you've probably got close to half your stem cells that are senescent, dormant. And so that keeps getting worse and worse and worse with it. But now if we can go in, instead of having that decline and be in more of your declining stem cells becoming dormant, we can take the ones that are declining, bring them up to high levels by this nutritional support for its own mechanisms, and now we can address the ones that are senescent, that are the toxins that are damaging you, that are not producing the potential of the cells you want, and we can support the body's mechanism to remove them. Then the body in and of itself, although we're giving it some support nutrients for that, can potentially produce a brand new stem cell. So this field of dead flowers, where you have a few growing on the edges, suddenly can start to blossom and bloom, and with that comes stem cell activity a go-go with it, because you're taking, it's almost a Lazarus effect. You're taking those ones that have become dormant, and they're not dead, but they're dormant and toxic, and now the body system goes through, eliminates them, and you come out to where you start. The body has the potential to start producing new stem cells. So that is if I've explained it properly, that is an extraordinary discovery. We've got that figured out, I believe. We're bringing that product out. Now, it's an expensive product to do, and we may have to do a few things, but I'm going to have it at a very reasonable price. I mean, reasonable price. It won't exceed the Age Pill because of what we're doing, but it's taking many, many millions and millions of dollars to bring this. But I'm committed to doing it, because I'm not in this to make this millions for myself. I'm in it to produce products to give you the kinds of products that people want. They believe maybe you're out there somewhere, they just can't get their hands on them. But the truth is the science is there, but the products are not. But with Sizzle, we bring those hopes, wishes, and dreams into reality. And so this new product X that we're going to bring out now is so powerful, you will only take it every other day. Here's the reason why. As if we support the body's mechanism, and if they're working properly, and I have to qualify all this so I'm FDA compliant, but if we're doing that, and you have all of these new stem cells that are coming back and coming out, but they have to, first of all, be destroyed. When they're destroyed, that means they shut off, they go into cellular death, apoptosis. And just like a business or a building that's been bombed, there's all kinds of debris left around. So that's why you take it every other day, because one day you support the apoptosis, and then the next day the body's mechanisms come in, T cells, macrophages, all of these things, and they eat up, they clean up the debris. And you have to clean up the debris or you'll decrease the functionality. So bomb it, clean it, bomb it, clean it, bomb it, clean it. And that's what's going to be happening as these cells self-destruct through their own mechanisms, supported by the ingredients we give them, and then it takes a day to clean up the debris. That makes sense, doesn't it? So this is not a product to use every day. This is a product to use every other day. Now you put that on the road to immortality, and where are you? You are going down it at colossal speed. You have the stem cells that are declining, potentially restored to that of where they were young. You have the stem cells that are dormant, now producing new young stem cells again, and the field is starting to blossom and increase out. And now the regulator of how fast it happens with telomeres is supported by TSX with that. So I think we've got, now you need nutrition, all kinds of things to support it. We have a lot of great things. Brain vitality is an important one too. But those are support. Here are the three main driving factors on our sizzle road to immortality: the age pill, TSX, and product X. So now if you understand it, reactivate, save the cells that are still active, increase their ability to duplicate. Their ignition rate can be, instead of just chugging along, it can zoom along, and then take the stem cells that have become dormant, that are so toxic in your body, get rid of them and support the body to produce new stem cells from this field of dormant, almost you might consider them dead ones. It's like the Lazarus theory in a way, that it rises up and comes back to where it was when you're younger. Now, that's my message for today. There's a lot in that. I've explained a lot. I hope it's helpful to you, because this is a business of duplication. You need to take what you have and be able to duplicate it. Now, everything I told you was in more exhaustive detail. You just need to pick up the highlights, the benefits of what each one can do. And there's no products in the market that can do it the way we have. Some cannot even, they're not even there with what we're doing. But these three products, Age Pill, TSX, and Product X, are the super highway and the super conductors and the vehicle to get you down on it, taking you far down to on the road to immortality. What does that mean to you? That means regeneration, or the potential of regeneration, of great health, of the faculties you're losing being restored, or better yet, if you start earlier, you start maintaining them so that you don't have to fight so much to bring it back. And so where are you looking at right now? I'm guessing off some of the research that I've said, but if you can take these systems and put them together, you can take a look at your life and you can say, how many potential years do I have left if I die average or a little longer? And say it's 30 years. You might make that 60, 90 years. And that's a very real possibility, in my opinion, from what I've seen. So if we take 30 years, and those are the worst 30 years you'd have left as you continue to generate, we support restoring your body to where it was younger again, and you could live 60 or 90 years longer at that, and who knows what goes on beyond that. We're not stopped. We're always looking, and when we get you down there, well, I actually think now, and they're having RADFest, which is a conference on anti-aging life extension down in Vegas this weekend. And with that, they say that Aubrey de Grey in particular, who is the world's leading authority on this, they say that people that are born today should live anywhere between 300 and 400 years old, because of the science that is being developed and that will be developed. But you know what? That is they're developing it to get on the road to immortality, and some are a little bit in a little putt-putt car. Here we are. We got a Ferrari racing down it. We have a super highway to do it, and we have all the switches are go, go, go. So with these three products, they're like nothing else in the world. Nothing in dietary supplements, nothing developed yet in pharmaceutical research, and when they are, I believe they'll be woefully inadequate to what we've done. So now out of that, we're moving into a new, and I know I'm way over, I'm sorry. We're moving into a new era of the biggest thing that we need now is growth, and that is recruit, recruit, recruit. So recruit, train, and develop your distributor force. The fortune is in the follow-up, but you've got to go out and recruit them. So this is a business right now where we have to get heavily into recruiting. And so now we are designing some programs to support your recruiting new distributors and to support those new distributors when they join, that they will use the products again and again, where a lot of people take them a month, I didn't see anything, and off they go. I don't want to spend that money again because I didn't feel anything for last month. But I mean, how different do you feel between 20 and 25 or even 30? So, but when you get down there, how much different between 50 and 60, 60 and 70? It's tremendous. So here what we're going to do is we're going to get people so they will use products, the new distributors, yourself too, but new distributors, and then they will be able to experience the benefits and the effects of these. And some of them are very fast working, especially Product X will be, if you give that thing 3 months or more, you're just going to be shocked at what I believe it can do. H-Bill can do it within that period of time on what it is doing, but this is the missing link. This is the other component, and binding them together is TSX. So these new programs we'll have, and you see them starting right now. There's Dash for Cash with this quick cash we're going to put into your hands, and we're going to put it in ways, other things. We're taking it from the company to put it in programs to help you to be motivated, to have the rewards that you want, but also to take that which you've created, those new distributors, and help them to become very successful, to become knowledgeable that these products work, not because what they read, but what they feel, what they see. These results are self-evident, and it's going to go on and on. I don't want to take away from it, but in the process along the way, you're going to see some things happen with skincare that'll shock you out of your gourd. If you don't have a gourd, go buy one, because you're going to be shocked out of it, because there is an aging gene, and they found out it is triggered when damage is done to the skin, and it folds in, it crepes, it wrinkles, it sags, all of those things. That aging gene can be switched off, and we found the ingredients that we believe can do it, based upon the science that's been found. And I'm taking, and not just one, but I'm taking several different facets on doing that, and we're going to provide a product that will support the switching off the age gene in your skin. And we'll have a product so fast, the study is showing on the ingredients that you're seeing, most people are seeing visible changes in 14 days. Within 30 days, we think it'll be undeniable with what we're doing with this new product and with what we're doing with transfusium and rapid repair. It's going to be sensational things for the skin. Those things, I hope, are going to be out this year, too. It's maybe too much, especially with Product X and the H-Pill and all of these things that are going on, but we're going to do it. So you need to be concentrating in one area, not in all these areas, but you need all these products, and some people will want one system, some people will want another, and so we're putting together the programs to drive growth, to drive recruiting, to drive retention rates, and to build your business. But without you, it can't happen. You are, of all these things that I'm talking about, it sounds so great about the company and everything, you are the most important component of it. And everything I'm doing is directed, the company is doing here, and all the people in it, directed to giving you the support that you need so you can make it happen, but you are the key to it. If you sit on your rear and you don't get it out of gear, it's going to go right past you, and you're going to see people having incredible health, incredible success, wealth, happiness, all of those things, because they've jumped on this road to immortality and they're raging down it. Our skincare will be the road to immortality too, with that, even though the other factors are helping it also, but we're going to be very specific because we can address it directly from the outside in, and that's what we're going to do. So I apologize for taking so much time today. I've gone as fast as I could. I hope it was comprehensible for you. I'll try to put some formats out for you so it's easier to understand, but you need to know this is not flim-flam show. This is not dietary supplements. Some of them didn't even have an active ingredient in it, and they claimed on the label. This is not that kind of thing. This is the most highly advanced products that has ever been found in research, and we are bringing them out far ahead of anything that can be done in pharmaceuticals, prescriptions, and diet supplements are always going to be woefully inadequate because it's just strictly profit motivated. And for me, my motivation is to make it happen for you. And in doing so, I get joy and happiness from doing it too. I have that driving passion within me. It's certainly, I believe it is a God-given gift that He has given me to help other people. And I, for one, would be afraid not to use it, but I am happy in being able to use it so that you can truly make your life happier, healthier, and wealthier, and do it as easily as possible. So that's my report for today. I hope it was enlightening. Understand this. These are discoveries like has never been seen before. These are things that science has worked on, has found and developed, and because of the advancements, now it can be done, and we are doing it where others are waiting in the wings, and that can be a long way. We are right there on the front edge of this, and we're going where no one has ever gone before, and you're part of this great team. So thank you for being on this morning. I'll turn the time back to you.
Tom Mower, Sr., absolutely awesome.